bridge, we typically think of the points of a compass. So we have north and south and east and west. North and south are partners, east and west are partners. You're partners with that person and they're trying to win just like you are, and you got help. Isn't that nice? The person who is dealing the cards, so that there's going to be one person each hand that is dealing the cards, always starts with the person on their left. They deal the cards one at a time in a clockwise rotation until all the cards are gone. Okay? So if we have 52 cards and 4 players. Each player ends up with 13 cards.
To the class.
It's important that you always count and verify that you have 13 cards when you're playing in person, okay? Otherwise, you'll get towards the end of a hand and you won't have any cards left, right? William, my PowerPoint's not moving.
There we go.
Thank you. All right, in bridge, the highest card is the ace. The ace is always the highest card. It's never a 1. It's always the highest card within the suits. In addition, we break out the suits. We call them honor cards. The ace, the king, the queen, the jack, and the 10 of each suit are called the honor cards. Okay? The people that invented bridge, they did it about 100 years ago, a little over 100 years ago. And what they also did was they designated that spades and hearts would be called major suits and diamonds and clubs minor suits. Okay? So spades and hearts are majors, diamonds and clubs are minors. Now, I don't know why they did that. They did it 100 years ago. I can't change it. When you start a hand of bridge, one person will take the cards and mix them up, shuffle them. They'll deal them, as we said, one at a time to everyone at the table in a clockwise rotation. Everyone counts and makes sure they have 13 cards. And then you sort your hand into suits. The cards you are holding are called your hand, and you sort them into suits. Most people divide their cards, put all the suits together, spades, hearts, diamonds, and clubs. They separate them by color, red, black, and typically they put them from highest to lowest within each suit. Now, there's no rule about that. You don't have to do that, but that's what most people do. Nowadays, we're doing a lot of things online, and you're actually going to play some hands online today. When you play those hands, guess what? You don't have to worry about any of that. You will have 13 cards. They will be sorted into suits. They will be highest to lowest. But if you're lucky enough that you have 3 people that'll sit down and play real cards in person with you with a deck, make sure you do those things. Basics of play. Each player must follow suit by playing a card in the same suit as the one that was led, unless they don't have any. If you can't follow suit, you can discard, play any card in any other suit, but you can't win that trick. For this hand, the highest card played in the suit that was led wins the trick. Now you might think, what's a trick? Well, remember, we said that each person at the table must follow suit. They must play a card in the same suit it was led. What will happen is one person will play a card, lead a card. And then the person to their left, because we always go clockwise in bridge, will play a card in the same suit as the suit that was led. And then the third person, and then their fourth. So you'll end up with 4 cards on the table. Those 4 cards are called a trick. And for this hand, whoever played the highest card in the suit that was led wins the trick. You have 13 cards. There's 13 tricks in every hand of bridge. The cards you hold are called your hand. The playing of those 13 cards is called a hand of bridge. All righty, so for each hand, what is going to happen in bridge? And you don't know how this happens yet. We haven't talked about bidding. That's the other part of bridge that we're going to learn later. But what will happen is that one partnership will declare, will say, will contract and say, we can win this many tricks. And the other partnership is trying to keep them from winning the number of tricks they contracted for. Now, if you win more than you said, that's great. but you have to win the amount that you said, that you thought, expected you could win. The opening lead is the first card played in every hand of bridge. One person is going to lead a card, and that is dictated in the bidding, which you don't know about yet. The cards are placed face up, directly in the middle of the table, okay? Excuse me, directly in front of you. I was thinking online for a second. Cards will go face up on the table in front of you. And the next person plays, and then the third, and then their fourth, always going clockwise. When we play the sample hand that you're going to have in just a minute, West will make the opening lead. So let's look at how it might look. It always goes clockwise. So on this hand, West led the 9 of diamonds, and then North played the 4, East the 6, and South the king. So which card won this trick? These 4 cards are called a trick. Who won? Right, South. South won. They played the highest card in the suit that was led. So we would say that North-South, that partnership, took that trick, won that trick. And South, the person who actually played the card that won, leads first to the next trick. So if your hand wins, you lead first to the next trick. You don't have to play the same suit. You can lead any card you want, any suit you want. Okay? And that happens till all 13 cards are gone. All right. So we're going to play a hand. Remember, you're going to follow to the suit led each trick. The highest card in the suit led is going to win the trick. Now, what's going to happen online when you're playing this practice hand? Guess what? You're going to have to follow suit. It won't play a card if you don't follow suit. And it's automatically going to see who won the trick. And what will happen is the 4 cards, as they're played, will go in the middle of the table. And then when you start playing to the next trick, they'll disappear off to the side, okay? There's one thing about bridge that you don't know how it happens yet, but it's unique to bridge, I believe. And I'm not going to tell you yet how it happens. I'm just going to tell you it does. In the game of bridge, for every hand, there is always one hand that is face up on the table, okay? For the hand you're practicing, that is going to be North. North's hand, after the opening lead, is going to be face up on the table for everyone to see. And you are going to be South. And you're going to play your hand and their hand, okay? So you're going to want to click their cards and your cards. To play a card in Zoom, you simply take your mouse and click on the card that you want to play. Sometimes you have to double click. It's how your computer's set up. And it plays the card in the middle. So remember, you must play North and South. West is going to lead a card. North's hand will come face up on the table. And then you're going to play the North card, and then East will play, and then you're going to play, okay? So you obviously don't know how that happens, why that card's up on the table. Well, you're going to learn that later. Don't worry about it. This is just to trust me. Just want to give you a chance to see how this works, okay? All right. Learn something new every day. As I think I told y'all in my introduction to the class, this was the first run of this large a class ever. And it's a learning curve for me. So I'm very sorry if you didn't get to finish that hand. But hopefully, at least you got to play some cards. At least I hope so. If you didn't, you'll have a second hand in just a minute to do that. Okay? So this was the hand that you had, the North and South hands and the East and West. And you were playing the cards high card wins. What we call that in bridge is a no trump hand. In bridge, if you play a hand, a contract, where there is no trump suit, and I'm going to explain that in a minute, where just high card wins, high card in the suit that was led, That's called a no trump hand. Now, what cards won tricks? How did you win tricks? Did you win with what? Maybe your aces and kings? Here you had an ace, king of hearts, you had an ace, king, queen of diamonds. I bet you were able to win with those cards. Your opponents had some really good spades, didn't they? The ace, the king, the queen, and the jack. So they probably won some spade tricks. You can sometimes win with smaller cards in a long suit. After the suit's been played a few times, you might win with even a 2, a 3, or a 4. In this particular hand, after you played your ace, your king, and your queen of diamonds, if you were on lead, nobody had diamonds but you. So you could have also won a trick with your 9 and your 8. Did anyone do that? Hope so. Okay. In a no trump hand, if you're looking at your hand and you're trying to decide, do I want to play high card wins? Do I want to say I can win a certain number of tricks? That's what you want to look for. You want to look for those honor cards, the aces, kings, aces and kings, sometimes queens and jacks, and a long suit where you might win tricks with small cards. Okay. All right. The second kind of hand you might have is a hand with a trump suit. If you've played spades or pinochle or euchre, you're pretty familiar with trump or whist. In bridge, any suit can be trumps. What happens is in the bidding, which you don't know anything about yet, one partnership might declare, we would like this particular suit to be trumps, because if this suit is trumps, the smallest card, any card in the trump suit is higher, stronger than any card in any other suit. Okay? You still must follow suit if you can. If someone, for instance, if clubs were trumps, someone lead a diamond and you have a diamond, you must play a diamond. If everyone plays diamond, highest card in the suit led in diamonds wins the trick. But if you didn't have diamonds, then what you could do is play a club if you had one. And it wouldn't matter what club it was. They could play the ace of diamonds and you could play the 2 of clubs and you would win. The only way someone can take the trick away from you after you've trumped is if they're also don't have any diamonds and they play one higher than you. Okay? So let's look at one of those hands. Oh, and by the way, you can also lead trumps in bridge. There's some card games where you can't lead trumps, but you can lead trumps in bridge if you wanted to. All right, now let's try this one out. Clubs are trumps. East led the 6 of diamonds. South played the king. West the 6 of clubs. North the 4 of diamonds. So who won this trick? West. Oh, excuse me. West. And what was the other thing that you knew about the West hand? He doesn't have any diamonds. If he held a diamond, he would have had to have played his diamond. So when he played a club, we know that he did not hold any diamonds. Okay? So for this hand that you are going to play, and I'm going to hold off a few extra minutes and give people time to go back to Shark Bridge and get on in the waiting room before I go ahead and assign them to a table. All right? For this hand, clubs are going to be trumps. You're going to follow to the suit led every trick. If everyone follows suit, hold on one second, y'all. Excuse me just a second. Everyone must follow suit if they can. If they cannot follow suit, you can choose to trump, but you don't have to trump. Okay? Now give me just a minute because I've got these hands on hold. We're not ready to play a hand yet because I've got to load the next hand in, all right? So y'all just hold your horses. I'll be back with you in just a minute. If you've closed out your Shark link, what you can do is just click on the icon of Shark at the bottom of your screen and pull it back up. Or you can click the link that's in your chat. All you have to do is put your mouse and click on it and it'll take you to Shark Bridge. Hopefully this will go a little smoother than last time. Okay? I'll be right back. 15 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna give some people another little minute to finish their hand. We had some that come in a little late. And I really appreciate y'all being so understanding about my little technical difficulties here. Managing a large group, managing new technology is hard for me. Managing new technology with a large group is even harder, but I'm working on it. So I hope you still got at least a sense of what it was like to play bridge and how those cards operated. We're gonna stop play now, and I'm sorry if you didn't get to finish your hand. And then we're going to come back to the Zoom and learn some more. So head back to your Zoom. All right, you back with me? You got your workbooks out, your worksheets. So I have some questions there about playing a trump hand. If you haven't already looked at those, do it now and see what you can find out. This was the hand you just played. So we had clubs as trumps. You sure did have some nice clubs there. Remember that in a trump, the highest card played in the suit led still wins the trick, unless a trump is played. And then the highest trump played wins, right? Okay. So on this hand, how did you win tricks? What cards won tricks? So my guess is you still won tricks with your aces and kings most of the time. I mean, the first 2 rounds, we call 4 cards being played a trick. We also call it a round. So the first couple of rounds, the aces, the kings, they usually win. Not very common for one of those, someone not to have any more cards left. But by the 3rd time you play cards around a certain suit, often somebody's trumping, right? So you probably still won tricks with your aces and kings for the most part. What's the other way that you won? How else did you win tricks? By trumping, right? You might have taken a trick with that 2 of clubs or the 3 or the 4. And sometimes you can still win tricks with cards in a long suit, but it's not as common. That's not as common in a trump contract as it is with no trump. Now, the other thing to think about is how many trumps did north-south hold between their 2 hands? So there are 4 in north, right? And 5 in south. So you had 9 trumps. Remember that, 9. That's a pretty good number. And did you have one of these things in your hand? Did you have a singleton? What do you think a singleton is? A singleton is a suit where you have only 1 card. Or did you have a void? What do you think a void might be? Right, you're missing a suit. You don't have any cards in one of the suits. Well, I think that north might have had a singleton. Do you see a singleton in north? Yeah, that 3 of hearts, they have a singleton heart. And what about south? Did south have a singleton? They had a singleton spade, right? So when we have 9 cards or 8 cards in a suit between our 2 hands, what that's called is a fit, F-I-T. It's a bridge term. 8 is an advantage. If it's trumps, it gives you an advantage over your opponents. 9 is even better. 9 is great. 10, you'd be dancing. You'd just be saying, oh, I got 10 trumps. I'm so happy. So what happened is that when that 3 of hearts was gone, south could trump hearts, right? And when this 8 of spades was gone, if anybody lit spades, south could trump spades. Excuse me. Yeah, south could trump spades. So what happens is sometimes you can take a lot of tricks even with these small cards. And when you have 9 trumps, gosh, after you had played trumps even just twice, they didn't have any more. And you and your partner still had plenty of trumps left. So having a singleton or a void is a good thing, because once that card is gone, you're able to trump and take tricks with your small trumps. Even better is when you have 9 trumps between your 2 hands. More than 8 is just gravy. It's better. Okay. So we got to do some vocabulary about bridge. You have to have a way to identify the partnerships and the people at the table and the things that are going on. And there's quite a bit of it. I'm only going to give you a little bit of it right now. But think of it this way. If all the names start to and all the ideas kind of start swirling in your head, remember this. A baseball field, a baseball game. You have 9 players and they all have a designation. You have a pitcher, a first baseman, a second baseman, and you're so familiar with baseball that you automatically know that if someone's over there, they're the third baseman, right? Bridge is the same way. Once you get the vocabulary down, you'll find takes a little bit of memorization, then you'll have it and you won't have to worry about it anymore. But just remember, it's just like any other game. Every game has its own vocabulary that's peculiar to it. Okay? So bridge, contract. No matter what type of bridge anyone says they play, in reality, it's some form of contract bridge. This is the bridge they invented 100 years ago. The rules that they came up with 100 years ago. And we play contract bridge. One partnership, we'll call it the declaring side, is the partnership that will declare, promise, say that they are going to win a specific number of tricks in either no trump or with this trump suit. That happens in the bidding. You don't know how that happens. The last hand you played would have been, they would have declared that clubs were trumps, okay? You'll learn it. It happens in the bidding, but we're not going to learn that particular piece today. However many tricks, the number of tricks they say that they think they can win, that they're going to take, is called the contract. And it can be a number from 1 to 7, okay? The opposing partnership are called the defenders, okay? They're trying to keep the declaring side from winning the number of tricks that they expected to win, okay? So one side has said, we're going to take this many tricks with this is trumps or in no trump, and the other side said, oh, we're going to stop you from winning that many tricks. The declaring partnership, like I said, that happens in the bidding, how that decision is made. There's going to be one player who first bid the suit or no trump that they ended up with as their final contract. This is how many tricks we're going to win. Don't know how it happens, but I promise you it does. And they're the person who is going to be playing the hand out. For the purposes of the hand job we're practicing with, the declarer was South. And their partner, and their goal is to win the number of tricks they said they would win. The partner of declarer is called dummy. Okay? And if you're playing on a table, you know, if it's 3 friends and you playing, the cards get laid face up on the table in columns. And the declarer plays their hand and dummy's hand. So for the purposes of the hand you were practicing with online, the last one, for instance, where clubs were trumps, South would have been the declarer, North would have been the dummy, and South would have contracted, promised, said he was going to win a certain amount of tricks and he'd be attempting to do so. Those East and West players were trying to keep him from winning that many tricks. That's how it works. You don't understand how you get there, but you will later, I promise. I promise. I'm getting there. All right, so let's talk about this. There's that club hand again, right? The last one you played where you had 9 clubs between your 2 hands. Let me ask you a question. When you had clubs as trumps, how easy do you think it was going to be for you and your partner to win tricks? Pretty easy, wasn't it? You had 9 clubs between your 2 hands. You had the ace of hearts. You had the ace king of diamonds. Singleton heart in north, singleton spade in south. Y'all probably won a lot of tricks if you got to play your whole hand out with clubs as trumps, right? Well, those people that were inventing bridge way, way back when, they said, Well, that's not very interesting. That's not very much fun. You know, these were people who, were building the railroads and digging for gold and doing oil wells and all of that kind of thing. And they were finance people. They were used to taking big risks to try and get a big game. And they wanted a game that reflected that. If you want to be the one that wins, you've got to risk something. And if we just said clubs were trumps, remember I told you it was like 1 to 7, right? Well, how easy would it have been to win 2 or 3 tricks? Pretty darn easy. So what they said is declarer must win 6 tricks first before the ones he wins go towards fulfilling his contract. Basically, what they did was they gave the declaring side a handicap. The first 6 tricks, if you're the partnership that gets to say what suit is going to be trumps or no trump, then the first 6 tricks you win are just off to the side. That's your handicap. And now you have to win the tricks after that to fulfill your contract. So if we had been, for instance, in 3 clubs, if that had been how many tricks we said we would win, it wouldn't have been just 3. It would have been book plus the number we bid for a total of 9. So that north-south side, if they had said 3 clubs, would be trying to win 9 tricks with clubs as trumps. And the east-west players would be trying to keep us from winning those 9 tricks. Okay? It was evening the playing field. That was what the handicap was doing. It was making it riskier for one partnership to say, oh, we're gonna say this suit is going to be trumps. Right? Higher you bid, the more chance that the east-west would have a chance to set you. Okay? So the contract, number of tricks the declaring side has committed to win. There's 3 types of contract you can have. Now remember this, majors and minors from our first slide. You can play with a major suit as trumps. You can play with no trump or with a minor suit as trumps. So why does it matter? Well, first off, let's look at this. There's 3 types of points that the declarer's partnership can win. They can win trick points and bonus points. The defenders can only win set points. The defenders can only win trick points if they keep the declaring side from taking the number of tricks they set. Okay? Trick points are earned for every trick the declaring side wins after book, if they make their contract. It's always dependent on that you have to take the number of tricks you said you were going to take. So let's look at those trick points. If you play with a major suit as trumps, you can get 30 points for every trick you take. If you play in no trump, it's 40 points for the first trick and 30 after. A minor, 20 points. So if you have a choice between playing with spades as trumps or diamonds as trumps, which would you choose? Well, we'd want to play with spades as trumps because we get 30 points for every trick, right? The kids, I teach a lot of youth bridge, and kids typically understand this really well, and I think it's from the video games they play. Because, in video games, you're trying to knock something down or capture something, right? And I'm the kind, I see those little cherries running down the side of the thing, and I'm going cherry, cherry, cherry. I'm getting 50 points every time. I feel really good. And then somebody comes in and they go golden ball, and they get 1,000. And I feel like, darn, why didn't I go for that? Well, it was harder, wasn't it? Okay, so same thing in bridge. 30 points for majors, only 20 points for minors. Not a hard decision to make, is it? Kind of looks like no trump might be a good bet. But remember, when you play a no trump, only high card wins. You don't have the ability to trump and take tricks with those little small trump cards. So what I want you to do, this is exercise 3. There's 3 hands. What I want you to do is look at the cards in both the north and the south hand. And I want you to decide whether you would like to play in no trump or with a trump contract. Okay? And then we're going to run a little poll. We're going to come back and look at it. I'm going to give you 10 minutes to look at those three hands. Make a decision about whether you want to play in a trump suit. And if it's trumps, I want to know which suit, okay? Not just trumps. I want to know which suit it is. I'm going to give you 10 minutes, and then we're going to come back and go over them. If you're fast and you get it done really quick, well, go get a glass of water or something like that and come back. But in 10 minutes, we're going to review this, and I'm going to ask you what you did. See you in a minute. All right, well, let's see how you did. We're going to send out a poll. You have 15 seconds to choose your answer. It's a multiple choice. Click whether you think we should play no trumps or whether we should play a suit contract, a trump contract, and which suit you think it should be. It's either spades, hearts, diamonds, or clubs. Savannah, send that poll. 15 seconds.
Okay, let's see. We got 34.
Has it been 15 seconds?
It's been a little over 15. There's still people answering. Okay, 40 people have answered. 42.
I'll give you 2 more seconds.
All right, most people are saying spades.
Okay, click it up, show them the results. All right, so you said spades, but we had several people, I think, probably say clubs. So this is how you would make the decision. Now, you can't figure out exactly right now how many tricks that you think you're going to win. I mean, you have an idea, but you probably don't have my experience. Like I told you, I've been playing for 50 years, right? So in this hand, I believe that if spades were trumps, that you would probably be able to take, excuse me, I'll do no trump first. If no trump, if you played in no trump, I think that you would be able to win 9 tricks. And if you did, you would get 40 points for the first trick after 6. And then 30 points for each of the next 2. Because remember, 9 tricks would be making 3. We don't get the first 6. That's book. So we would have taken 3 over book. So your trick score would have been 100. If you had played in clubs, I think you would have probably been able to win 10 tricks. And if you won 10 tricks, that would be 4 over book. 20 points for each trick after book would be 4 times 20, 80 points. And if you played in spades, I think you'd win 10 tricks. And you'd get 30 points for every trick, wouldn't you? So that would be 120. So ta-da! Spades is the best contract for us if we can win 10 tricks, because we'll get 120 points instead of just 100 or just 80. See how it works? So in every hand, you're going to have that choice. We want to play a no trump or a suit contract. And a lot of your decision is going to be based on how well it scores. All right, what about these second ones? Savannah, send out a poll. You've got 15 seconds to put your answer in. I need some Jeopardy music to play while y'all are deciding. See if you can find me some Jeopardy music.
All right. Let's see. Sorry, people are still answering. I'm trying to let some people finish. Right now, we are overwhelmingly clubs. 84% clubs.
84% chose clubs. Well, if you played in no trump, I think that you might be able to take 8 tricks. But I don't know that you'd get to take 8 tricks before the opponents, East and West, got to take a lot of tricks too, right? Because we don't have very good spades and our diamonds aren't wonderful, right? But maybe if we could make 2, take 8 tricks, if we could take our 6 clubs and our 2 hearts before they got more than us, that'd be pretty good. We'd get 70 points. If we play in clubs, I think that you would take 9 tricks. 3 times 20 is 60. I think you'd take your 6 clubs and your 2 hearts. That's 8. And I think we can either trump a spade, leave this 3 of spades and trump here. Might still get our, that's after we've played 2 rounds, right? So we might get up to 9 tricks. And if we take 9 tricks, we're going to get 60 points. So clubs is certainly more sure that we can take some tricks in clubs because of our ability to trump. But gosh, only 60 points versus if we play in no trump at 70. So I think this one's really close. Yes, do you want to risk? Do you want to risk going down, not taking as many as you promised, those extra 10 points? I don't know. But it's your hand, not mine. Here we go. What about the third one? Savannah, turn that card, send out that poll. 15 seconds.
All right. We have diamonds, 68%.
Here we go. Diamonds, you said. Well, see, I think that if you played no trump, you might not even take 6 tricks. And if you play diamonds, I'm pretty sure you'd be able to win 8. So you'd make 2. So the deal about no trump is this. If you look at this south hand, we have all those really pretty diamonds, right? But we don't have any other high cards in the whole hand. So if one of our opponents, if East or West, whoever had the ace of diamonds, was so kind as to win it the first time diamonds were ever played, I'd play my 2 under the ace, right? And I'd still have a diamond in North to play and win all of those diamonds. Plus, I'd still get my ace of clubs and my king of spades, maybe even the queen. But what if East West don't win their ace the first time diamonds are played? What if they wait till the second time? Well, I get that 1 diamond trick, but if they win the second one, that 8 and 4 diamonds, let's see if I can cover them up, are gone, right? And there is no way that North can lead any other card that South can win. So in a hand like this, where you have this long, good suit, but your partner doesn't have many and you don't have any other good cards, y'all are right. You want to play diamonds. So that was a great choice. I hope y'all did well. So we had diamonds on this one. This one was a toss-up. Clubs is safe. No trump might be something if you were really one of those people that just is really hungry to get the best score every single time and don't mind risks. And this one came out to be spades. Good job, great job. All right. Bonus points. Remember, there's 2 types of points that the declaring side could win. One was trick points. We just looked at those. And the other is bonus points. Okay? Bonus points are earned for winning the number of tricks that your partnership contracted for or more. More is always good. Winning more is great. And the points that you win are based on the level of the contract. Level means how high you went. Now, I'm going to give you just some names here. I'm going to explain them in a minute, okay? So for a part score, your bonus is 50 points. For a game, and that's not the game of bridge, that's a concept in bridge, is 300 points. There's also something called a slam, where you would have to say, we're going to win 12 out of 13 and do it. 800 points, yay. But how often does that happen, right? That you win 12 out of 13. And a grand slam means you're going to win every single trick. But if you do, you're going to get a big bonus. These slam and grand slam, those don't happen very often. It's very seldom that you can win that many tricks. Usually your decision is going to be between part score and game. Okay? So let's look at that. You can only win game bonus points if you risk bidding to that high level. Okay? 4 level in a major, which means you'd have to win 10 tricks. commit to win 10 tricks. 3 level and no trump, so that'd be 9 tricks. And the 5 level and a minor. It's 11 tricks, 11 out of 13. And if you are willing to commit that I'll win 10 tricks with spades or hearts as trumps, your bonus is going to be that 300-point bonus. Any level below those game levels is your part score. And what was that bonus? Does anybody remember? It was 50. So if you're willing to go to this high level and you're successful, 300 points. If you stay low and safe, 50. So every single hand that you play, you're going to be trying to decide, is it worth risking going higher, or should I stay low and safe? If you don't make your contract, then the defenders are going to get points. And they get 50 points for every trick they set you. What you'll hear is set or go down. For instance, if I bid 3 clubs, I would be committing to win 9 tricks, right? If I only won 7, I would have missed by 2. So the defenders would get 50 points for each of those tricks. So let's think about that. The most they can get is those 50 points for today. The most they can get is those 50 points for every trick. But I get points for every trick I take and a big bonus. Obviously, if you think you can do it, you're better if you're the declarer. If you and your partner are the ones trying to win tricks. So how do you decide? We kind of know how to decide what to play because of that trick score, right? Remember, those bonuses didn't change. Your bonus, the level you had to bid to changed, but not the actual bonus. So when we had a fit, at least 8 cards in a suit between the 2 hands, that kind of led us to what suit we wanted to play in, or did we want to play no trump? But how do we decide how high to go? I mean, obviously, the strength of our hand has something to do with that when we have the majority of the high card points. And I can see my hand, but how do I know about partner's hand? How do I know how strong he is? The bidding. We find out in the bidding, which you don't know anything about yet. But what happened is that there was a man named Campbell in 1915. He came up with a way to, in the bidding, tell your partner how strong your hand was. What he said is for every ace, you can count 4 points, every king 3, every queen 2, and every jack 1. He based the points awarded to each of those high cards on how likely they were to win a trick. So aces, most likely we get 4 points if we have an ace. Now there's 4 suits, right? If you add that up, 4 and 3 is 7, 2 is 9, and 1 is 10. We have 4 suits. We call these high card points. There are 40 high card points in a deck. And what we have found out in this 100 years of playing bridge, what he thought you'd find out at the very beginning was that if you had a specific number of those high card points, you could probably risk going higher. Now, first off, let's practice counting our high card points. You got 4 hands. I'm going to give you 5 minutes. What I want you to do is just count the points. These are in your worksheet, all on one page, right? Count the points in the hand, jot it down, and let's just see how you do there. You think counting points is pretty easy. It's just 4, 3, 2, 1, right? When you actually, for the first couple of times, start counting your points in a hand, it's really not very uncommon for people to not get it right. It's something about going back and forth and adding those numbers together. But I'm going to give you 5 minutes. You take a little 5-minute break here. Count the points in those hands, jot them down, and we'll come back and review together. All right, how did you do? Let's see. I've got 3 and 4 is 7, 11, 12, and 3 is 15. Did y'all get 15? Excellent. Okay, the next one. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 points. Well done. The next. 3 and 4 is 7, 10, 11, and 12. I kind of like that hand. I like hands that are 5, 5. I wish it was majors. Did y'all get 12 points? Good job. And our last one. 3 and 4 is 7, 10, 14, 17. Boy, that's a pretty hand, isn't it? Did y'all get 17? Great, great. Okay, so let's tie all that together. Everything we've learned. We know that we would like to have 8 cards in a suit between our 2 hands in order to call or say that a specific suit is going to be trumps. That's the magic number, the fit. If we have 9 or 10, it's even better. We just love it. And the second part is how strong our hands are. That determines to a large extent how high we go. And it's true that, you know, things like extra trumps or those singletons that we talked about or avoid, that makes the hand play better. Sometimes we take tricks we didn't expect to. But in reality, the high card points really kind of nail down how strong our hands are. So what we found in these 100 or so years of playing bridge, and what McCampbell thought we would find out when he invented that high card point counting way back when, is that if you want to play at the game level in hearts or spades, the 4 level, that if you have 8 cards in the suit between your 2 hands and 25 or 26 of those high card points between your and partner's hands, you can probably be successful. If you want to play game in no trump, you still need about 25 or 26 high card points between your 2 hands. And in a minor, you'd have to go to the 5 level. Do you think you only need 25 or 26 points now? Well, here you're winning 10 tricks and here 9. Here you have to win 11. Guess what? You need more high card points probably to be successful. We think around 28 or 29. Y'all, he invented this back in 1915 and we're still using it now. I mean, we recognize, as I said, that, you know, extra trump length or shortnesses help our hand get better, help us take more tricks. But this pretty much has worked for 100 years. So, hey, who am I to quarrel? We have 3 exercises next. I want you to concentrate on the hands that you're going to look at, about the length of your suits. Do you have a fit between your 2 hands? And the strength of your 2 hands together. You're talking about the north and the south hands. You're going to decide whether you want to play trump or no trump. And if you remember the polls that we did earlier, that decision is going to kind of be made for you because these are the same 3 hands, okay? These are the same hands that you looked at before. And I want you to tell me what type of bonus you want to try in the score. No trump, a part score, a game, or maybe even a slam or grand slam. Okay? So you're going to think about the length of your suits, where you want to play. No trump, hearts, spades, diamonds, or clubs. And you can always go back and look at the hands that we decided that on earlier. And then I want you to think about the strength of your hands between the north and the south hands, how many high card points you have. And I want you to pick the level. I want you to pick, are we going to play part score or game? Are we going to go for that game bonus? Okay? So these are 3 exercises, 5, 6, and 7. I'm going to give you 5 minutes to look at the hands. Maybe I'll give you 10 because there's 3 of them. I want you to count your points. I want you to know how many points you have between the north-south hand. Think about what suit you're going to play or no trump. And then I want you to tell me the level. And we're going to send you a poll for the level, okay? We'll cut that time in half, Savannah. We'll give them 7 minutes. All right? So here you go. How high will you fly or how low will you go? Come back and tell me. Oh, by the way, remember, if you want the game bonus, you have to bid to the game level. If you don't bid it, you don't get the bonus points. We're in the home stretch, everybody. We're in the home stretch. Okay, let's see how you did on this one. So on the first hand, exercise 5, North has, let's see, 4, 8, 11. Did you get 11, I hope? And South, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 4 is 15. So a total of 26 high card points between our two hands. And do y'all remember what suit did we say on this hand? Some of y'all, I think, picked clubs and some picked spades. And we said we thought we could win 10 tricks. That was kind of the information I had given you. Well, if you said, oh, well, you know what? Let's do a poll. Send out a poll, Savannah. What level did they say they would like to bid at?
Okay, people are still answering.
You got 10 seconds.
Okay. Okay, that's about what we're getting. 81% said game.
81% said game. Excellent. That would be my choice if we play with spades as trumps. If we tried to play a game with clubs, how high would we have to go? To the 5 level. And what we said was we thought we could win 10 tricks, right? So here's the difference if you played with spades as trumps and you bid to the game level, which would be the 4 level, right? If you had stayed bid game, you would have gotten 420 points. Your trick score never changes. You always get the same amount of points for every trick you win after book. Whether you, doesn't matter how high you bid, but the bonus changes. So 120 would have been your trick score, and a 300-point bonus would get you to 420 points for that hand if you won 10 tricks. If you stayed low, if you said, I don't want to go that high, you would still get your 120 points for your tricks, but your bonus would be only 50. So it's 420 points versus 170. Don't have to ask me twice. I'm going for the 420. What if you had said, you know, I'd like to get that slam bonus? Well, you wouldn't have made it. You probably would not have made it. You probably would have gone down 2. And the defenders would have gotten 100 points and you would have gotten nothing. Okay? So on these kind of hands, it's always that give and take. If I bid too high, I'm not going to get anything. It's no good to try and get that big bonus, instead get 0, right? All right, so now the second one, exercise 6. How many high card points did North have? 11. And what about South? 3, 6, 7, 9. So our total high card points between our two hands was 20. Okay. Savannah, how high did they want to bid? 10 seconds.
All right, 81% said part score.
81% said part score. You're just brilliant. I must be such a good teacher. So if you played part score in no trump or part score in clubs, if you had said no trump and you managed to win the number of tricks you said you were going to win, remember we said it was questionable whether you'd actually win 8 tricks or not. But if you did, your score would be 120. Now, clubs, I think it's pretty sure that you can win at least 9 tricks. I bet that you can win 9 tricks. And if you're successful, your bonus and your trick score, you'll get 110. So only 10 points difference Bridge, 10 points can be big. So this would be a really tough hand for people who had experience in bridge, trying to decide, ooh, do I want to risk everything for just that little extra 10 points? Or do I just play in clubs and take my 110? I think most people would probably take their 110 sure points. They'd figure the difference was not worth the risk. Okay. And our last one, oh, excuse me, and if you bid game, you would have gotten nothing. Exercise 7. How many high card points do you have? 12 in north. And what about south? 6. So your total, 18. And how high do you want to bid there? Savannah, we got another poll to send out. You got 10 seconds. The anticipation is just keeps me breathless. 85% said part score? All right. And that's correct. So you're only going to get 90 points. But if you did anything but play part score, the defenders were going to get a bunch of points and you weren't going to get anything. So sometimes, and you need to think about playing matters kind of like, okay, I'll play with diamonds as trumps because we're not going to get very many points, right? But sometimes some points are better than nothing at all. Okay. All righty. So what have we done? We have the idea of how you actually physically play the cards, the mechanics of it. Remember, in a no trump hand, it's strictly high card wins, right? Highest card in the suit led wins. When we play in a trump contract, we'll still have highest card in the suit led wins, but we also have an opportunity to win tricks by trumping. There's 2 factors you always kind of have to think about when you're making decisions in your bidding, right? You don't know how to bid yet, but you're always going to be thinking about how many cards I have in each of the suits. Do I have a fit somewhere? And the scoring is always going to influence if you choose majors or minors, or if you choose no trump. And it's also going to influence how high you decide to go. I don't really care right this moment if you can do all the math of adding all of that up. But what I want you to understand, what I want you to grasp is there's a reason and a time that sometimes you want to take a risk and bid higher. And there's sometimes you want to stay low and safe, right? And that's the strategy of the bidding, which we're going to do on Sunday. But I'm going to leave you with this. William, will you pull up my website, please? On my website, which we're getting to. Here we go. It's coming on. Under classes, mini bridge. Then you go over to the brochure. This brochure kind of gives you a synopsis of everything. What we've just learned, I call it a quick start. It's called mini bridge. There's an actual game called mini bridge. And what it does is it gives you the strategy, high or low, what suit am I going to call trumps, talks about how you count your points. And this brochure gives you kind of a game that if you're lucky enough to have 3 people to play with, you can look at those rules, pass them out to everybody. It's easy to understand, and y'all can play cards. So that's going to be fun, right? If you're playing online, I have another place to show you. But you're welcome to print this out, copy it, save it to your computer, share it with anyone else. You know, everybody in the world that's a bridge player knows about mini bridge, so feel free to share it. The other thing you can do, same thing, it was classes, mini bridge, and then he went to online play. Okay, so what happens when you do this? It takes you directly to this mini bridge, which is a subset of bridge based online. It's another one of the online playing options. 2 hands will come up. You have a north hand and a south hand. You're always south. And what it asks you to do is to select your trump suit. So do we have our poll ready for this one, Savannah? Y'all pick a trump suit. I'm going to play this handout, show you how this whole thing goes. So what suit would you like me to play as trumps? Got 10 seconds. Be kind to me now. Don't make it too hard on me. Or no trump. We could play no trump.
People are still voting. And 38% said clubs.
And that's the highest. So 38% said clubs. What was the next highest, out of curiosity?
It was a tie between hearts and no.
A tie between hearts and no trump, and then clubs won those. So clubs are trumps, William. All right, y'all, how high do you want me to bid? How many tricks do you expect me to win? Now remember, this is tricks over 6, right? I have to win 6 plus whatever number y'all come up with. You got 10 seconds. Oh, I found out the poll is not the right one.
I'm sorry, that's my fault.
Sorry, well, that's a technical difficulty we'll fix. So in your chat, just Savannah will scroll up, just type a number in. How many tricks over 6 do you want me to try and win? She's just going to kind of,
Two.
lots of 2s. Thank you. You're so kind to me. I really do appreciate that. One person said 6. You want me to try and win 12? Don't do that to me. No. Okay, so I'm going to try and win 8 tricks with clubs as trumps. I'm going to go over here and do it. All righty, so here we go. Oh, that was great. I'm so glad that everybody had some clubs. That worked out well for me. That's so rude, the sound they make when they win that trick. Oh, thank you. So hooray, I won 11 tricks. I did great. But thank you for picking a good trump suit for me and keeping me low and safe. I would have been okay on that one. So look what happened. After I played that hand, it showed me the result. It gave me a score, and it's keeping a running total down here because I didn't bid very high, so I didn't get that big 300-point bonus, right? Then it goes on to the next deal. And you can play this for as many times as you want, as long as you want. This would be good practice for you. It's good practice in counting the points in both hands, picking a trump suit, and it's going to give you some experience in how the cards play opposite each other. You can play this against the robots forever, for a long, long, long time. They get hundreds of hands in there, I think. If you have liked this, if you'll take me back to PowerPoint, please, William. If you have enjoyed this, I hope you have, even with my little glitches. I hope that you'll come a week from tomorrow on July 26th and learn the bidding. That's the real part of bridge that takes it away from all those other games, takes it up a step. Bridge is a great game. I've been playing it, as I said, for over 50 years. And every time I play, there's something new. You know, there's more to learn. One of the best things about bridge is you can play at very basic level with what you're going to learn here and next Sunday, and play for a long time and have a good time doing it. Or you can fall in love with it the way I did, and you can keep learning for the rest of your life. Every time I play, there's a new hand. And there's always some new idea someone's come up with that you can learn to make your game better. Here's some things that you can do next. This is also in your handout on your worksheets. As a matter of fact, there's even more on the worksheets. This is that Bridge Online. The next is the live stream series, Bridge in a Day Part 2. It's already up on my website. We're going to post an ad for it. Please share it with your friends. I have a YouTube channel called Learn Bridge. There's a link on my website. You go to videos and look for the YouTube link. It'll take you to my playlist. Look for the videos that say new to bridge. Those will probably be the ones that are the most used for you. I started doing those in March when the pandemic hit. People were in lockdown, so that people who were interested could learn a few things about bridge. It's been great being here. You've been a very kind audience, and I appreciate it. I hope to see you again. And if you have any questions or thoughts or something that wasn't clear, we're going to record this. Where are we going to put it, Savannah? Can we put the recording up on YouTube, or we'll put the recorded version of this up on YouTube? As far as the worksheet goes, if you have some friends that might be interested in looking at the YouTube video, I don't mind if you share that worksheet. I just want people to learn how to play bridge and love it as much as I do. I'll be here for a couple of more minutes, maybe 5 or 10 more minutes, because we're finishing a little early. If you have any questions, you can put them in chat, and Savannah will pass them along to me. If you're tired, you want to go have lunch or have something to drink or eat, I hope you'll come see me some other time. So thanks again, everybody. You've been just a great audience. Thanks. All right, so we're going to leave me on live. And Savannah, do I have any questions from people?
I actually have one that was privately messaged to us, just asking, apparently one of the people in the class, their friend was texting them, who's also in the class, that they were kind of trying to understand the difference in the trap and the trap suit seems to be a hard thing for beginners. Maybe
okay, so the trump suit is in the bidding, which you don't know how to bid yet, except of course in that mini bridge you could pick the trump suit. That's the part I gave you. That happens in the bidding. And one partnership who has a lot of cards in that suit and a strong hand might just decide in the bidding, we're going to make sure our suit is trumps and we're going to take this many tricks. I can't explain it any better than that right now, except that it can be all 4 suits, and you'll understand it more after next week when we talk about bidding. But the basic idea is the 2 hands, the partnership that has the most high card points is typically the partnership that in the bidding is willing to go high enough to declare, to say, my suit is going to be trumps, or I want to play in no trumps. So I'm sorry if that didn't answer well, but it's a hard one when you don't know about bidding yet. So hopefully you'll come see me next week. Next.
A lot of people saying thank you. They're looking forward to learning. Great beginning. I feel a little smarter today.
Well, thank you for the people sending kind words. I appreciate that. Oh, by the way, we're going to send a survey out, and I'd appreciate it if you'd answer it. It'll be about 10 questions. Most of them kind of multiple choice or, on a scale of 1 to 5 kind of thing. Help us. I need to know about the timing of the exercises. Did I give you enough time to come up with your answers and anything like that that can help us improve this? I'd love to see lots of people learn how to play bridge and get interested in it. So anything I can do that will make this better, that you think would make it more entertaining for your friends or make it more interesting for them, I really would appreciate knowing about it. So next, anybody else got any questions?
Not that I see.
I'll wait a few more minutes in case you're thinking of something.
Someone said, are you going to do another bidding class? I can't do it Sunday.
Somebody asked, will I do another bidding class? Because Sunday is not a good day for them. I probably will. I'd like to make this kind of a regular thing, that I do this maybe once a month. I do a Learn Bridge in a Day, and then do a Bridge in a Day part two, Bridge in a Day part 1, a Bridge in a Day part 2. Part of it is going to be, kind of based on the reception I get and the feedback I get from y'all, and how many people go on YouTube and look at the video, that type of thing. There is a cost involved, it's a lot of my time, especially this first one. Wow, trying to learn how to do everything was kind of difficult. So I have to, but yes, I do plan on doing another one, and I hope it will be kind of towards the first part of August.
We can also make sure we obviously record it and
Savannah was saying we could post the second one, but I'm charging for the second one, so I won't be posting that.
we can do on video.
Oh, but you know what you could do? On my website, there is a Bridge in a Day link. It's only $10. It has a workbook that goes with it too. It's not in person, but it is me standing up with the PowerPoint and giving you some information. You have a workbook to do some exercises. It's only $10. You could start there and pick up the bidding from there. But I will try and do one in August as well. Anyone else?
I think that's about it.
Is everybody leaving?
Some people are. Plenty of things.
I will say there's one good thing, and that is once we've done it and kind of put it all together, we know we've got to handle the shark cans a little better, and we have a poll we missed putting together, so that's probably mostly my fault. But what the good news is that after today, things will probably be very smooth.
So just a lot of thank yous.
See you next week. That's what privately I got.
Oh,
Okay, well, it looks like nobody has any more questions they want to ask me. I look forward to seeing some of you next week. Hopefully you'll be able to make it. Remember, it's Sunday, July 26th from 3 to 5. I moved it late for those out on the West Coast, or those of you that maybe have family or church synagogue that you do. Wouldn't be synagogue on Sunday, would it? That would be Saturday. So anyway, I tried to make it at a more convenient time, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. So I hope to see you then. Bye-bye.